I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'll go get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night and there ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night, got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here on screen. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team. One day, it'll be me. If I want it, then I'll get it. Headed down, don't regret it. Push myself to the limit. If I play it, then I win it. I'm just saying, I'm just living for today. For a minute, I don't stay, I just visit. Have no shame, I admit it. Looking to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now. Swear to God, man, I'ma make it soon. Silence all the haters as they see us making moves. I do what I want, so I got nothing to prove. Staying motivated, teaching others what to do. I'm staying focused, my mind is open. They start to notice that I'm in motion. There is no potion, you're not just chosen. It takes devotion to stay composed, man. Never stop, there ain't no time to fall. Try to live, get it up, you got one life to pop. Thinking big, never small, cause you gotta want it all. When you finally get that call, you get ready, take it on. Need a hand out, I already stand out. Starting to advance now, ready to expand now. You don't have a chance now, cause we're in demand now. Make it private brand now, feeling in command now. They're looking right at me to see if I succeed, to see if I believe. They're looking up to me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me.
Welcome to Unique Prepping. My name is Zach, and the reason why this channel exists is because I want to build a community of prepping, homesteading, freesteading like-minded people who want to learn, grow, and build a beautiful future together. My goal is wanting people to understand that no matter what life throws at you, physical limitations you have, or situation you may encounter, we all can unite and fight for our future generations to come. The reason why I'm so passionate about the future is because I was born into this world dead for 27 minutes, and I believe that when I was unconscious, God retrieved me back into heaven, replaced my abilities to walk and talk normally with the ability to have a powerful brain and heart to build a beautiful community, to hold the line and have a freedom that we, as God's children, deserve. Welcome to the channel, and let's learn together.
Happy Wednesday.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. You can hear me, hopefully.
Good evening, our wonderful prepping community, and welcome to a new Divert series off of the community discussions that I want to call Unique Prepping's Community. The reason why I want to start this new series starting every Wednesday is because in my heart, I want to help people come together and grow as a nation under God. I'm in a point in my life where I feel like if I can love people as a whole and help them realize that we all should be in this together, then my life purpose will be fulfilled. So I hope that other people want to join us every Wednesday and help this series grow. On tonight's episode, we are going to be discussing community and what it means to be part of one. I'm your producer, host and brother Unique Prepping, and with me is my brothers and our community members John Mosman from John Mosman Productions and Tag from Life Done Free. Before we begin, how are you guys doing this evening?
Yeah, life for me is great. Other than I've got, sick girls at home and I'm doing the chores and all that, but I'm doing exactly what I want, so I can't complain.
Yeah, same with me. Obviously, it's good to get to talk about community and talk about things to help each other because, it happens that just, you never know. And that when someone is going to make a difference in your life. I'll use an example today, Zach, when I was in the drive-thru, and I think the guy in front of me could tell I was having a bad day. And I go up to the window, and the lady goes, "The guy in front of you paid for it." That's the power of community, right? And being able to focus in on our needs and cut the needless BS and just help each other live free and help each other be the best people they can be. I mean, that's the best thing to try to do. So.
Yeah.
Hi to everyone in the chat. It looks like we've got...
That's good to hear, and I'm doing good myself, thank you. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, John and Tag, for joining me on this first segment of Unique Prepping's Community. I just feel this is a direction that I want to take this channel because I feel that it's an important step in our journey on this earth to be able to connect with one another and make the future bright and exciting. Sure, I understand that it might take years and years to achieve this hope that I have, but the coming together is a big goal I have in this channel, and I genuinely believe that this is God's plan for me. With that said, do you guys have anything else to add before we get into the questions?
Yep, if it's on me, no, Zach, let's rock and roll. Let's build community. I'm in. Let's roll.
And yep, I would just want to say hi to everyone in the chat, everyone for coming in. It's good to see so many familiar faces and some new faces, so good to see it. And I also want to make a mention of something just real quick. If you'd like to know more, you get a hold of me, you can email me, but it is coming up. And that is Operation 32. We got a countdown on that. So some of us are going to try to go out and see Zach next year for his birthday. So if you'd like to know more about Operation 32, let me know. But other than that, I'm ready to get into the conversations you got for us, buddy.
All right. So what does community mean to you when it comes to prepping? So this is a gigantic question. There's a lot of pieces to this, but I guess some of the things I would touch on is in reference to community and prepping is, you learn, I think as you go through the transition of prepping, you figure out pretty quick that you can only store so much. You figure out pretty quick you can only preserve so much. And it kind of has a lifespan. This is why we always talk about how, all prepping leads to homesteading and all homesteading leads to freesteading, right? Because it's just this natural progression. And with community, you couldn't obtain any of them. I've done a lot of research on this and a lot of studying on this. And, in order to secure your property, to do your chores, to do those kinds of things takes a roving number of at least 24 people. And so you're just not going to be able to do it alone. But again, this goes even to further things. With you get a big enough community pretty quick, you can start influencing legislation. And you get a big enough community, you can start building your own systems. Like, we have our own medical system and, some of those kind of things. So with community, almost everything's possible. And without it, almost nothing is.
Yeah. That's great. Great insight. I mean, it's hard to, Zach, it's hard to add to that, isn't it, buddy? I mean, that was pretty precise, sweet, and to the point. And from what I know of you, Tag, it seems like you're living that out right now, which is good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people talk about wanting to be that way, and how to get there, I think is a big question for maybe another stream. But for me, when it comes to community, and when it comes to prepping, is finding people who share common interest. And I've always said this, like you watch people who do, or like live in a homestead situation, and everyone kind of starts to lose a lot of that toxic attitude towards people when they learn that they have to rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we don't need people. Like, we don't think we need people. We actually do. I think that's a lie that society gives us, because there's a lot of things that we take for granted, like the internet working, someone's doing that. The power on, someone's doing that, right? We just offset that and take that to someone else. So to take that on for ourselves, and then to also be there for other people to help them assist, that is important. And I think the whole reason why a lot of people probably feel like everything going on right now, especially in the United States, is so topsy-turvy, is because top down, they dictate things to us because they have control over the means of things, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, what does that community mean? I think community means shared values, shared understanding, a shared goal of what that might be, and then also to know who you are and know what you can do for that community. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people, I tell this to one of my friends, I said, I am not the guy that's going to go out hunting. I'm not the guy that's going to do that. I don't have those skills, but I can cook, and I can make a mean stew. I can make, I learned a lot of, how to cook off a open fire and doing all that stuff. So having those kinds of things are important. Up to you, Zach. It's back to you, buddy.
Okay. Yeah, that question is a huge question. I could elaborate on it for a year.
Yeah. You could do a whole free stream on that.
What community means when it comes to prepping is having a system of people around you who want to provide knowledge, experience, and understanding to helping one another around them. Sure, community can come in many forms in society. It can be physical presence around you, through forums and that nature, or even online through YouTube, which actually I'm trying to build my own community through. Yes, I understand that if the grid goes down or something, my method will not work so much, but for right now, it helps me because I can connect with people across the nation who want the same end goal and build as a person. To give you an idea about why my community consists in being more online than in real life is because I have very little outside my family around my area, so to be able to have people online for me is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like to address a couple of these things, you guys, and you guys know this. I think, I don't know if you know this, but I know that Zach knows this. I've spoke all over the country about community. many times. And community is not a destination, and nor is it a location. It's a spectrum, and when we talk about community, to Zach's point, is, there's different rings and interlocking rings of community. I have a large online community, and I consider them my community. It's just a different community, right? It's just different, again, spectrums, I think, to that community. And then to touch something else you guys said that I think is really important is, one of the biggest benefits community has is head medicine. And, when you're down, I had a very good friend of mine today who's in my community whose favorite dog got ran over today and died. And just having someone to say, bud, that sucks, and I feel bad for you, and I'm here for you if you need something. I mean, that little bit of head medicine makes you feel not so crazy in a world that, wants to isolate preppers and homesteaders and that, and they want to make us come out to be crazy. Peeps around me makes me feel just a little bit normal. Zach, you make me feel normal.
Yeah. And the benefit of this, Zach, is so it doesn't have to be either or, and you can grow both locally and globally through the internet, through YouTube, through all these kinds of things. And I always said this, our mutual friend from Arkansas, it's so funny that a friend in Arkansas brought two of us together and we're in the same state. I'm just a few hours north of him. And so, that means that, Zach, if we talk about something, we say, okay, because I was talking this with somebody else, like, when you're talking about different plans, like whether you're going to bug out or whether you're going to hunker down where you're at, like having like a location people can like go, okay, this is where we're going to rendezvous. This is where we're going to meet up. But I know this, I know if something were to really happen and Zach needed something, we could talk about making plans and say, okay, if it all goes down, I'm coming to get you, Zach. Yeah. And then we'll go wherever you want to go, buddy. So thankfully through the community online, you've been able to meet people. And even though I'm a few hours north of you, I was still close enough to come get you and take you down for your birthday this year. And we're going to go out and have a lot of fun, buddy. So.
Yeah, you got a lot of good comments in there. Rebecca says there are too many people who think they can go lone wolf. Independence is good, but taken to an extreme makes one vulnerable. And, no disrespect to anyone who plans to go lone wolf. And maybe you're just a better, stronger man than I, but I can tell you this, I don't see how it's possible at all to survive. You got to, I was a soldier and I know what it's like to walk patrol and I know what it's like to be on duty. You are not going to do that long term. The amount of time you're effective doing those kinds of things is very limited. And so I think you have to
Yeah, you always have to have someone watching your six.
Yeah.
That's a military term right there. I'm not in the military, but I know what that means. So, yeah. But the other thing too is like, and there's a physical aspect of that, but like you were mentioning, Tag, there's also a spiritual and mental aspect to that, an emotional aspect to that, where you can provide, because there is going to always be a fine line between surviving and thriving. And part of thriving is we've known it, right? We've seen it. If anything, the last few years have shown us is that when people are isolated and alone and shut down, their mental health goes to crap, so we need people. We were created to be, it's kind of funny. There's this doctor online I like, and he does a lot of stuff. Oh, you got something? Okay. Many sticks makes the bundle stronger. Absolutely. Yep. But it just says talking to people is one of the most important medicines you can have. Just talking to someone.
I promise you, if you went and asked any Navy SEAL, any Army Ranger, any Green Beret, any Force Recon, what the hardest part of Special Forces training is, they'll tell you it was the mental side. I'll guarantee it's true. It's not the physical side. It's being motivated every day. It's when you're down in the dumps, having someone to pick you up. That's the hardest part. Yeah, the Camel Carl says down there that actually I usually am way more content alone. You know what the funny thing is? I am as well. But I just understand that I'm just one person. And I understand that you just can't do it alone. You're just not ever going to thrive. You might be able to meek by maybe, but you're not going to thrive.
Well, I think there's a difference too, Tag, between having someone be your source of joy, like being content alone, like now, and finding that you can survive with other people. So, I mean, I think those two things can exist. They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I think that was well said. That was really well said right there. I agree with that. I think he's got another question coming for us. You know, my instincts say keep chit chatting. But then as soon as I do that, his thing pop, you know.
Yeah.
It's good, man.
I'm learning to figure that out with them.
It's good. Zach almost has me trained. It's very.
Yes. Me too.
Proper training, Zach.
Unfortunately, I don't like being alone because I get lonely and my energy diminishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm telling you, head medicine's where it's at. You know, I can, you know, as you guys, many people in this chat, you know, who come on my channel know this. I'm surrounded by a fabulous community. If I'm down in the dumps, or I need help, or I'm unmotivated, they're the first ones to tell me to quit feeling sorry for myself and get busy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had a lady who's in our community just the other day call me up and basically tell me I needed to pick up my game. And I really appreciated it, you know. To have that around you. So Zach, I couldn't agree more.
Mario says, you are beautiful men to step up and support Zach to get the message out. This is how the body of Christ comes together in community to share his love. Gentlemen, I'm so proud of you. Well, thank you. Just trying to be a friend. That's all all I have to do is just care. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, Mario is one of those typical. I know Mario pretty good. He's one of those typicals that would call you up and tell you you're being a dumbass.
Yeah.
He's a good
so
one.
Better to get praise than criticism from him.
No, he's a good one.
Is this the next question, Zach?
That's the first one.
Oh, that's the first one. Okay, just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why he has you on here, Tag.
Yep, Zach, you coming up with another question, or you want us to keep talking about this one? Because we could talk about this one for 65 years. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so why is prepping communities so important going forward? Oh, my goodness. Zach, you just let the cat out of the bag. I could rant right here. So prepping communities are so important because the beast that enslaves us, the grip they have will get tighter and tighter and tighter. And so as time goes on, our ability to reach out and be dependent on those systems or use the system becomes harder and harder and harder. Therefore, if you're surrounded by a community, that is your biggest prep, because through that community, we can have counterculture, counter economy, parallel culture, parallel economy. We can build our own things, grow our own things, barter our own things. There's all kinds of things we can do when we come together. And this is why it's critical moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's, to me, why is prepping communities? So I think part of it is this, and if anyone knows, because sometimes we all misquote things. So if anybody knows this quote and I'm misquoting it, please let me know, because I might be misquoting it. But I believe it's Benjamin Franklin that says, if you fail to prepare, then you are preparing for failure. Mm-hmm. But if, and that kind of is a notion. So prepping, this is kind of the thing you were talking about, Tab, where like there's obviously there's people who are like extremists in every group, right? There's the people that are like extremist preppers, and that unfortunately becomes like the lark when it comes to people thinking about prepping. And all it means is taking responsibility for your own livelihood, your own freedom, all these things which we offer and we allow government to do for us. And now we're seeing that exchange no longer benefits us because they're forcing us to live to life or to think things or be things or accept systems that we may not like. But so to me, prepping communities are important going forward because like you were saying, the parallel economies, having the ability to have people come together and leverage the power that comes from communities, having different things. And you can see it all the time. Like, and I believe in this kind of concept, it's called subsidiarism. And it basically means you start with the local group. So like, to me, if there's people in my church that have like a business that I need services with, or someone in my family, I try to go to them. I try to go to in my community first. And then if I can't get that support in my community, I go outside of my community. But everyone always looks to the top. They always look for the federal authority to try to give them, and I just think that really you should look for your community to do that. And so to me, going forward, it's really important because you'll have a choice, I believe, just my opinion, of what kind of society you want to live in. One where free-minded people come together and work together, or one where you are basically dictated what the terms, who needs a constitution when you have terms of service?
Yeah, well, when you talk about why it's important going forward, and you talked about reaching out to the government, it's big business just the same. You know what the mainstream media has in common with the pharmaceutical industry, which has in common with modern industry, which has in common with the food supply, which has in common with all of those systems, is that Vanguard and BlackRock are the top shareholders. Right? I mean, this is 100% true. So all of our systems are all being fed through the same corrupt system. And without community, you're just a little ant standing underneath the magnifying glass. Community is the only way to get through all that. There just simply is no other way. Right.
And you saw what community did when it came to the Bud Light thing. That was the power of people coming together, accessing community,
Great example. I could not have said that better myself. Good job. I think Zach's got a comment here. Maybe. I'll stop talking if it comes up, but I think there's another big important part of all of this too, which is with inflation, which a lot of people think inflation is the rising of prices, which the truth is it's not. Inflation is nothing more than the loss of value in the dollar, right? That's all it is. But anyway, with all of that kind of stuff going on, it gets harder and harder to reach things. And so when you get a bunch of people together, you can, combine that purchasing power, and that purchasing power can, counteract or neglect in a lot of ways that inflationary issues. You can go together and buy a semi-load of whatever for, 50 cents on the dollar, when by yourself, you're going to pay the full price. So you can mitigate some of those risks.
Yeah.
And I know because we do it all the time. We just bought he's working on it. We just bought basically a semi-load, so 6 pallets of solar panels, 565 watt solar panels. And I've been filming it along the way as homesteads come in with their trailers and we load them up and they take them away. But we combined and purchased 105,000 watts of solar panels and, bought them for about 35 cents on the dollar. Okay, here comes Zach.
Community is so important because without people around you, it's difficult to get ahead of the curve in our lives. Government tag us like freaking cows the same day we are born. I'm so tired of this control, so I'm trying to make a difference in making communities possible. I love people and I know I shouldn't love everyone, trying to help others thrive. I love this.
You know what, Zach? Listen, bud, you never ever allow anybody to change who or what you are. Ever.
Exactly.
Even if it means you get taken advantage of, even if you means you lose friends, you stay true to you, because as soon as you allow yourself to be changed, you've now given that power to those people.
Yeah.
You stay
and you'll find being yourself who the wrong sort are and who the right sort are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because people who respect and love you for who you are and what you offer will love that about you, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, you don't ever do that, And I'm sure you've got a few bulldogs that in your community that if they need to ruffle some feathers in case someone is trying to abuse something, we got a lot of former military, and those guys are sheepdogs. I'm telling you.
I think that's when community works best, is when you have people who will be direct, honest, and upfront.
Right.
And where you can have a disagreement, and at the end of it, you're fine. Off you go. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, Sharpshooter in the chat says that we're a tax farm for government.
Mhm.
And that's true, but I would also argue another side to that, which is we're also how the interest gets paid on the investments by companies like BlackRock and Vanguard.
Mhm.
Those taxpayers as their return on their investment for buying up everything.
Mhm. Well, and the other thing too is, you know, I do a lot of homemade cooking stuff. I do a lot of, and I try. You know, I'm not probably nearly where I should be as a prepper, as some other folks, but I get to a point where, like, if I make bacon or something, I save the grease. So I can use it for whatever other great uses there are for bacon grease. You know, God forbid the refrigerator goes down, you could put some meat in there and you could still eat it. You know, but so, you know, learning those skills and having those skills, it's like when you buy stuff at the store, you know, and I always say this about going to the grocery store. Even though you have different labels and different color packages, it all amounts to being owned by the same 3 corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And all those 3 corporations, like, they do a carousel thing with going in and out of, like, the FDA and all that, you know, and so it's like, you don't know what it is. If you're not making it yourself, you don't know what you're eating,
Mhm.
you know, and, you know, there's something to be said about knowing, you know, if you're butchering your own cow or you're killing your own chickens or you're butchering, you know, you're making your own flour or whatever, you have that and not an idea of that. So,
yeah, well, I think, John, the one thing I would say to you on this comment is that, you know, you began the statement with, you know, I may not be as far as some, but I am where I am. At the end of the day, celebrate where you are.
yeah.
You're miles ahead of so many other, but that doesn't matter. I mean, and I tell people on my channel all the time, you know, I'm not in competition with you because I
Right.
want you to win too.
Right.
And, you know, I try to celebrate every person's journey where they're at, because that's just where they're at in theirs, just like I am at, you know, in my journey where I am.
Right.
But I absolutely celebrate it, and, you know, be proud of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not nearly as deficit as I could be, you know,
That's right.
and, you know, but I think the importance is, understanding how to make use of stuff, because I do think we waste a lot of things in this country, and it's just,
You know, I had a
it could
guy,
be used.
I had a guy in the feed store the other day. We were talking, and I'm a pretty friendly guy, so I'll go walk up and talk to just about anybody. But he had a veteran's hat on, and so that I'm a veteran, and so it's usually an easy conversation. But anyway, he started asking how the world was, which is like my inlining question anytime I meet somebody. World's an interesting place, isn't it? And then if you shut up and spill their guts, right? And so it's like my lead question. But anyway, this guy starts talking about, you know, he's so far behind, and, you know, it's all of this stuff that's going on, and he, you know, he's not ready for any of this stuff. And I said, bud, but you're awake. You see it. You know how many hundreds of millions of people don't see it? Celebrate the fact that you made the hardest jump. You accomplished the hardest goal. You got awake. Congratulations. How can I help you? We'll probably end up friends.
Well, and the importance of community too, and going forward, this is, you know, we all have our limitations. We all, in our uniqueness, right? And we all have our obstacles. We all have our advantages. This is why leveraging community is great, because you can take your strengths and share them, and on the weaknesses, you can either learn to make those strengths, or you can, or you can have someone to help you with that, if that really is a true limit to what you can do. But don't ever take, for example, what Zach does to me, because every time I see him and talk to him, he inspires me, because you can tell he's trying. You can tell he puts in the work. You can tell that he isn't making excuses for himself. He understands that. And there are a lot of people who just, like, will never come to that. They'll never accept accountability. I remember one time, Tag, this is interesting. I used to work with this lady, and I was talking about what happened if the grid goes down, all this. And she goes, I guess I'll just die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, at least you know that. Like,
yeah, but I think there's another side to this too, guys, which is, you know, and Zach is doing exactly this, is there's a bigger game being played. There's an issue out there that's bigger than any of us. And, you know, I think I heard the quote right, and I hope I don't butcher it, but that said, what is your price? Is it 10 million? Is it 20 million? Or is it your life? Because if it's not your life, then you're for sale. Right? And so I don't know how this all ends or whatever it is. And I might be just creating a perfect, self-sustainable life for my kids or grandkids someday. It doesn't matter. The point is I'm in the fight. And we're in the fight and we're spreading that message every single day. And, I'm going to lay down and, I'd much rather die on my feet than my knees. So, whatever is whatever, right? Right, Zach? Oh, I think Zach's got something for us.
Not yet, Todd. I'm trying to save up so I can build my own computer.
Yeah, I like G. Perry's comment here. It says, community to me is being around those who are doing their passion and thriving. In thriving, we have the ability to share our experiences. And I think to Zach and John's point, we have a saying in our community that is, there's a butt for every seat. And, basically, like I have an 80-year-old mother who barely gets around, like barely. And it's a real struggle for her. But you know what? You set her in a chair with a paring knife and a pile of apples in front of her. The only rule is, the TV has to have Murder, She Wrote on it. But if you do those things, she'll peel all your apples. And so,
well, that's why I always say to Mayhem, I go, I'm like I said, I'm not going to be the guy, but I'm going to be the camp cook. And I'll tell you what, I'm a pretty dang good cook. And it's because my dad taught me how to do a lot of things homemade, and I have a passion for cooking homemade food. That's the other thing too. And I think it helps when you have a passion that makes you want to do something. And so, I think that's one of the advantages that Zach has, is that passion, and what you're doing, I'm sure it comes from that passion. If nothing else, a passion of saying, I want to live by, and I respect people who can really do that in like a very extreme situation, like fur trappers up in Alaska who like live off of like a bear for a whole year, That's pretty insane. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I chose to live this life because I don't want anyone having control over me. I want to control my own destiny. And if I fail on my accord. And if I win on my accord. And I like those odds better than I like trying to play the game that BlackRock and Vanguard, has set out for us. Hey, Zach, I just got a question emailed to me from someone who's in the chat. And they're asking, what is it you need? What kind of budget is it you need to build your computer? Okay, answer that. And John and I will keep chit-chatting about bacon grease and all the good stuff.
Yeah, but for me, like I just but I know that's going to be a good, because again, and there's a lot of things I've learned also just by doing things homemade and seeing what works and doesn't work, and and finding ways to augment stuff. So for example, when I make my homemade dressing, ranch dressing. One time I didn't have mayo, and I was like, well, I've got some Greek yogurt. Let's see what that does. And bam, it does work. It works just as fine, Yep. So and I think that's the other thing too. You got to have like that brain and your thought in your brain of saying, how do I fix this problem? Mm-hmm. Right. If I can't do it the way I want to do it, how do I, and that is an important, I think, thinking mechanism to have. And that is itself is just as much as a tool as any survival knowledge or any other head medicine, like you were saying there, Tad.
Yeah, I think
bacon. Everyone, the talk of bacon grease has gotten people.
Yeah, I think bacon makes everybody hungry. Yeah, Conserve Friend says, when we're on vacation, I get so tired of food on the road. Near the end of the trip, I'm craving home cooked food. Yeah. Guys, I would rather eat a bowl of cereal at home with my beautiful bride than I would any restaurant that's out there. Mario says, or Jen says, bacon is his own food group.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many good uses for it, and but for me, it's like when you're making something and it comes from a passion, it's going to taste better too than some person that's just getting paid minimum wage to make it for you. So, Yeah, yeah, Crystal. I find a lot of substitutes, and like I kind of learned that from my dad of just like, it's funny, Tag. So I used to go around thinking that there was such a thing as hot dog casserole.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, you guys ever had hot dog casserole?" And they go, "What are you talking about, John?" And I said, "Well, we used to do this, and my dad would do this when we had to feed the family, and he didn't have a lot in the pantry. He put some mashed potatoes, put melted cheese, and then hot dogs on top of it. And it's like, what kid doesn't love cheese, hot dogs, and mashed potatoes in one little, And so it's like,
okay, I think he's ready. Maybe.
My passion is wanting to love people like no other. I want to be that one person who puts out light when they are down so that way they can succeed. And the budget is around 1,000 to good everything I need.
So, Zach, let me ask a follow-up question. Do you have a PayPal address or something that you can give us? So if someone wants to contribute to that, can you please tell me what that is? Or can one of the mods put it in the chat or something like that? Let's see what he's got here. This is a great example of community as well. I had someone reach out to me while I was talking on asking about Zach.
Yeah.
I mean, this is community.
Yeah.
The 30,000 foot view.
And it's funny because sometimes I think, and I'm this way, and I think it's something that's just ingrained in me I hate asking for help, right? And so when I'm in need of something, I don't like asking about it because I see that as a moment of weakness. But that's my problem because, again, people can help that. And so sometimes people won't know to help you unless you're talking about it. And again, it's a far cry. He's not soliciting that. And that's what I love it is when it's organic like that. Because you see a lot of people who get on YouTube and they're just e-begging. They're just e-begging.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a butt for every seat. And, Zach plays a big role.
Everything I have is in my link tree.
Okay. Got it. So for those of you who have reached out to me that wanted to know how to donate to Zach's ability to get a new computer, all the links are in his link tree, which would be in the description of the video. Right, Zach? Right. Yep. So just go there. Yeah. But what I was saying was that, I think Zach plays a super big role because, there's been times and, I'm fallible like everybody else is where you're down or you're whatever it is. And, Zach's a great person to think of. And, how in the world can I be down or be angry at myself? Zach would kick my ass if he's seen that, and so Zach, you motivate me, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty motivated guy 360 days a year, but I have my 5 days.
Thank you, Blue Rose, for putting that link in the chat there. So if you want to highlight that there you got it right there. There's the link tree there.
Good job, Blue Rose. Thank you.
It helps to have good mods as well as it does good guests and good commenters. I mean, it all takes, like you said, everyone there's a seat.
This is not a new question, right? This is the same.
No, it's not. No, that was the second question.
Second question. Yeah. There's a lot of things it's important for, right? Lots and lots. Head medicine, bulk buying, bulk storing. We have bucket parties at my house. So everyone will bring over bulk dry goods. We'll have a whole bunch of buckets and Mylar and O2 absorbers. We'll build a big assembly line that would make Henry Ford proud. And then we'll just put a whole bunch of buckets.
And I just want to take this moment. If no one has hit the like button on the stream, please do so. Hitting that like button helps us get this positive message out there. And make sure you hit the notification bell because you never know when Zach's going to give you a great video. So,
yep.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. There you go. Life with Mike and Jen. Good job. Yeah, I think we're very, very blessed in this community. What I'm talking about is, the internet community, Zach, but there's many others, like with Mike and Jen, and there's a bunch of them out there, that really go out of their way to help people and to help people grow and me included, and I think we're very, very blessed. You got another question for us, Zach? What led you to want to start building community around you? Oh my goodness, another long story. So as many of you know, I left the financial world for this world, and I left it because of pressures that I had in COVID. I was mandated to require the vaccine for all my employees. I refused, lost my career. You guys all know the story. So once you go through something like that and you really start looking at, okay, I don't want to rely on the system anymore, but pretty quick you wake up and you realize that there's no such thing as 100% freedom. And there's no such thing as 100% freedom because I don't produce oil filters in my yard. I don't have a salt mine and a sugar plantation. I don't have being able to do all of those things and be 100% self-sufficient. It's just simply not possible. Now, I will tell you, though, it is also not possible with community, but you can get a whole lot closer, right? A whole lot. And, you know, like here in our community, there's many community gardens that go on, and we'll be bartering many things. And there's wood mill, you know, sawmills, and we will barter many things. We will have many people who come over and we'll barter labor, and there will be many of that stuff that goes on. If you want to get 100%, you'll never get there. You can get very close if you get community. Y'all will be lost if you didn't know me. I agree, Ghetto. We would be lost if we didn't know you. And thank you for gracing us with your highness in your presence in the chat tonight. You, Allah, go Ghetto. For all
you see this grief Mayhem's given me, Zach. I guess for me, were you done, Tag? I don't want to interrupt, but were you done with the question?
No, you can go.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. But for me, you know, because, you know, I don't ever know if I'm building a community. I wanted to do that. You know, my channel used to be called the Oak Enclave, and it was all about creating an enclave, a group of people that were separate from other people. And, you know, and the kind of content I try to do and the kind of stuff I try to do online is I hate the e-drama. I hate like people going at each other's throats. So I just try to keep, you know, I'm always going to say what I think, but I'm always going to be, you know, try to be respectful about that. But for me, I guess, whatever community that I have, you know, it's that I, you know, with people like, you know, Zach and stuff, is that I get to just enjoy the company, you know, and try to do what I can to do it. So I don't know if I'm building a community around me, but I definitely am trying to be a good part of the communities that I'm in, and I'm trying to focus on the message that I think is important, which I think is, you know, for me, you know, how to, you know, I think that's important to like know how to prep for the for the future stuff, physically items, you know, but I also believe in spiritual prepping, where you're preparing yourself for what's going to happen, because there is going to come a time where there's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion in the world about what's going on. And if you haven't gotten straight with, you know who, you know, it's important. So, but also remembering, and part of that too is also remembering why human beings have dignity, and why we can still learn something from each other. Oh yeah. And you know, and that's why I just don't think you know, that people should try to go it alone in that sense. Like, it's okay to be content within yourself, that's fine, but to be a part of a community is to you know, be true to yourself, like you were saying, speak those things, and people will find that, and they'll either like it or not, you know. But there will always be someone out there. So to me, I think community, I try to build community by also what I can do for people, and you know, if, you know, helping Zach with anything I can help with, overlays, right, Zach? Or, you know, intros or logos or stuff like that, like the green logo I did for him, and you know, and I have a passion for that. So that's always nice when you have a passion for doing something and it can help someone else. That to me is a great thing to strive for.
Yeah, well, John, I would encourage you to view community again as a spectrum. It's not, you know, it used to be long. Let me back up. So it used to be back in the beginning days. I've been at this since 1993. Back in the beginning days, it used to be where you would think about it as like the James Wesley Rawls survivalist group. 10 people get together and bug out, right? That used to be what it is. But it really isn't anymore. And to me, community, you have your inner community maybe, but maybe your community is just over the internet. Maybe your community is other content creators. Maybe your community is those customers. Maybe so everything we do is for community, right? It's just
Absolutely.
a different spectrum of community.
Right.
Like I view it as a very dynamic. The word people ask me it all the time.
I like that. I like that way of looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to think that way too, Tag, because when I used to do a lot of customer service work,
Yep.
and I would always offer the best help, and I would always be attentive, and I didn't treat it as, oh, I'm just doing my job, right? Because, and especially I used to be in the moving industry, which is whenever someone has to move for whatever reason, it's a stressful reason. Even if it's a good move, you get into a new house or whatever, but a lot of people get kicked out of a house. So there's stress. And if you can do something to eliminate someone's stress, that is a service to community. You know,
Yeah. I would call it an investment in community.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I like the way you're saying that.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you don't know what tomorrow holds or what doors get opened just by simply not being a dick, right? Just by being kind and being compassionate and being generous, you're going to open amazing doors that you never know where lead and where that community ends up for you. And so I would call it a direct, everyday, intentional investment in your community. Let me see here. There's all kinds of good comments. Mayhem says, there are those within the community that help introduce others to each other. Sometimes you find that they aren't good for the community and others are good for the community. 100%. And there are people who won't be good for my community, but would be good for somebody else's. Right? And if we can help them take that step, I think we do them a big favor. I think Zach's.
What led me to this journey? I was trying to go the patriotic route, but I was surrounded by people who didn't try to be real to me, so my best friends and I came to me and asked me to try and grow something. I grew my first potatoes in 2022, and then Ghetto led me to a beautiful community.
Yeah, and now look, Zach, you know, now you're pushing the message of community and you're reaching communities you'll never even meet. You know, you'll never even know how successful you were because of those words, and those words travel and they penetrate all these other places. I mean, how cool is that, right? You want to talk about living forever? That's it. That's it right there. Pretty cool.
Well, and that legacy, legacy is something that you leave behind, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a monument or, you don't have to be a Pericles type of person and build great monuments to leave legacy. Your legacy can be kindness, like you were talking about. It can be compassion. It can be just saying something. Like that guy in front of me at the drive-thru, his legacy for me now is he was there for me in a bad moment when I was having a bad day, and he could tell it, and whatever. And whether it was an act of charity on his part completely, or it's also working within God's will, it doesn't matter, because that happens when you leave that legacy, and we can be interactive in that legacy and give that to people. And you never know when that means something, And so my mother-in-law used to do that. We used to go to the restaurant, and she'd always find some like lonely vet, and she'd pay his meal. You never know what that does to someone. So it's, never discount your acts, because they make up a wide-ranging contribution to humanity. So
I think I was super impressed. Camel Carl, I don't know in here, but him and I could tell you right now, him and I could be buds. He said that kindness costs nothing, spread that stuff everywhere. And then, but what's important is he followed it with, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. And I love that. That's like militant hippie in a lot of ways. I love that.
Yes.
Right. And I love that. Camel Carl, I love both those comments.
All right.
Yep.
Callie says Zachary's always been pushed community without falter from day one. I love you, Zach, and you're an amazing human.
Yep.
Thank you for that comment, Callie.
Yeah. Super cool. Yeah, it's neat to watch the chat, Zach, from my perspective, because I know a lot of the people in the chat.
Yeah.
And to hear them in here rooting you on, I think is pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been
well,
telling
that's the thing,
We need to get him out speaking. We need to get him on a speaking tour.
Yeah, we need to get him on a speaking tour.
I think you do great. All right, where are we at?
The Great Peace Tour, the Great Hope and Freedom Tour, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to wear your grind down, your grid down, and your free man stuff when you're out there doing that. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. To Camo Carl, he says, "Well, my iron stick is also named kindness," and well, that's kind of like what Teddy Roosevelt said, right? Which is, speak quietly but carry a big stick, right?
Yeah, I think that's just amazing. Camel Carl, I think that's a great attitude to have, and I'm a lot that way. I believe in giving people the benefit of the doubt. I believe in kindness and generosity, but I also believe that if you fuck with me, I will put the hammer down. And I think that's just great. What's that? I'm waiting for my $5 cash app for me. Okay. Yeah. Well, we were thinking, Ghetto, before tonight. So the three of us were having a conversation about whether or not we would be graced by your presence. And so we were debating about how would we act if, this is like, Taylor Swift showing up. This is important stuff. And so we talked about it, and we decided we were going to try to get a recurring $5 payment coming to you because just your presence here tonight, just the glitz and the glamour of your presence is worth an ongoing payment, buddy. Right, Zach? I bet that's the first time Ghetto ever in his life was compared to Taylor Swift.
That's funny.
Poor guy.
The point is, guys, everyone's like talking about how they met Zach. It's like we all meet through somebody, right? And to Mayhem's point, like sometimes all a person is good for is sometimes just introducing you to somebody that will actually have a huge, profound impact in your life.
Exactly.
Ghetto is the Taylor Swift 2.0.
No, Zach, he's 2.0 minus 1. That's an inside joke, brother.
Well, Ghetto, you started it. It's good. Now, Ghetto says, I'm usually sitting in traffic when Zach's live on Wednesdays. Glad to be home chilling with y'all. Yeah, we're super happy that you're here too, bud.
Well, it's kind of interesting because let's just look at the three of us. We were just talking before we got on here about where me and because both Zach and I live in Colorado, and all three of us have been to like the town that I'm nearby, and that's interesting. Like that you get that through, you go, oh yeah, I've been to that town,
It's a small world.
Right. And it's funny how that works because a lot of people know Steve Harloha, and he used to live in that same town for a while before he moved out to Hawaii. So it's like, it's kind of weird, and then it's through Steve that I met Indy and Mayhem and all that. So it's weird how that's just how great this is, how this works. So.
Yeah, well, guys, I promise you there's more of us than there are of them. And there's so much more that unites us than what divides us. It ain't even close, even me and Taylor Swift in the audience tonight have something in common. I promise we do.
Night, Mr. Smith. Thank you for coming in and chatting with us. And thanks for all you do, buddy.
You need to hook up and Camo up. He would be a fantastic guest on your channel. I like the guy. I said I don't know him, but I love his comments, and I would welcome that. Forever. You can find me at tagandb@lifedonefree.com. If you send me an email, we can certainly talk about it. I can probably put it in the comment here. Hold on, I'll put my email address in the comment. There you go. Thinking, but there you go. Yeah, email me, and I'd love to do that. There you go. You got something else for us, Zach, or is you just still wrapped up in Taylor Swift thoughts? I'm gonna get a hate mail, ain't I? All right. Making a community around you. What are the top 5 values, morals you want people to have when joining your community? Oh my goodness, what a great question, Zach. So let me tell you guys a little story. So when I first started this journey, I used to think that the way you attract a member, or what you're looking for in a member, was these things, which was character over skill and skill over supply. And those were the 3 that I really began to focus on. But what I learned was that simply wasn't enough. And so the top 5 values and morals that I look for today is attitude first, commitment second, character third, skill fourth, and supply fifth. And I look for them in that order, because with a horrible, I don't care what kind of character you got. If you're a Debbie Downer, I don't want to be in a foxhole with you. Okay, I need motivated, driven people who, even when it sucks and you're covered in mud or whatever it is, you can look at each other and say fuzzy kittens on 3. I need that. That's the person I want to be with. You know, commitment, you know, no matter how good a character you are, if you don't have a commitment to the process, if you don't have a commitment to building community, then you're going to be in my way. Right? Character is important, because that's what happens when no one's looking. Skills are important. They weigh absolutely nothing. And this is why supply is the least important thing, in my opinion. How's that for an answer?
Well, for me, this is a lot, you know, talk about a heavy question.
Yeah.
Zach just stepped up to the equivalent of Babe Ruth coming up to the plate and hitting a home run with that one. Because like I said, it could be nuanced, but I love this kind of question, because it really gets to let you know things. I think for me, my first value is, do you have a missional value system? And what I mean by that is that you see life through the purpose of having a mission. Like, what is your mission? Do you have a mission? And a lot of people who don't have drive, it's because they don't have a mission. A lot of people who don't have character don't have a mission, right? And to me, I see myself first and foremost in this world as a pilgrim who has a mission of love and hope. That's you know, and then being able to survive off of that is, of course, another thing. The next thing for me is vocational. What I mean by vocational is, do you see yourself in your vocational aspect? Meaning, like, how do you do in the vocations you do? Like, to me, the kind of person you are at your job, the kind of person you are as a husband, the kind of person you are as a wife, the kind of person you are as a son, as a daughter, as a parent, those things say a lot about the kind of person you are going to be, and what those values are. And at third, I think, is the other one is can you find common ground? Is there, you know, what can you acknowledge? There's a lot of people who can never give you any kind of common ground. They can't give you any kind of, you know, it's always their way or the highway type of people. And while that has benefits, you know, it's kind of interesting. I think about this in the terms of the show, like The Walking Dead, you know, where Rick, in the beginning of that show, a few seasons, he's kind of like the guy that's like the dictator of the group, right? And he's like leading that group, and he's very good at securing that group, but eventually that doesn't do good for the group. So, and then I think the other thing to me is, do you have common ground? Can you find common ground? And I think a lot of that comes out of having the value of humility. And I think humility is important, because humility will allow you to see your mistakes and try to right them. Your humility will help you learn from someone. If someone says, hey, look, your heart's in the right place, but I'm telling you, I've got some experience here. I've got some framework to tell you. Because if someone doesn't have humility, then they're not going to be a good team player. And I think you can't have anyone in your community that can't be a team player. Then I think you need to have a critical thinker. And that's the other thing. You can't just have yes men. You can't just have sycophants in your community, because friends and sycophants aren't community. They're not friends. And usually what you'll find with sycophants is that they are the type of people who are fair weather, right? They're there when you're telling them what they want to hear. And really, they're not really friends or community. They're just a sycophant for, like, if you're spewing this ideological position, if you're espousing this theological position, you know, they tend to be positional people, and those people you can't work with in a community. And I wouldn't trust those kinds of people in a kind of foxhole situation. And then for me, I think the other one would be, or do you have compassion? Because again, there's an important thing to have when, especially if we ever saw a complete SHTF situation, and if people think solely of survival and they think solely of being able to in that situation to the point where they would lose their humanity, I would be cautious of that. And that's why, to me, spiritual prepping is a part of what I would bring on top of my ability to cook a nice mean potato soup. But I guess that's how I would direct it.
Yeah, I think, let me ask you a question on that. So, you know, you talked about a lot of these things, but do you or do you not agree that if you had someone with a great attitude who was completely committed, and then also had great character, the differences wouldn't matter?
Right. Yeah. And I think to me, what I look at, what you're saying is attitude is, and maybe this is what I'm looking at, is those things kind of composite an overlapping idea of what attitude is, because humility is attitude, compassion is attitude, being able to be vocational, that's an attitude, right? Being missional is an attitude. You go, hey, I've got a purpose. I've got to do this. So a lot of people are aimless in life because they don't have the attitude to say what needs to be done, right? And so I think all those things kind of come back to attitude. So I guess maybe what I'm just doing is, maybe because you hit the nail on the head there, Tag, I'm just kind of maybe giving some intellectual distinction from my perspective, you know.
John, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours thinking about this topic.
Yeah.
Trying to hone it down to descriptive enough words, you know, that I could focus my energy. But hey, before we go any farther, Zach, they're asking, does Zach have a P.O. box? Oh, right there. Does Zach have a P.O. box or mail for those who aren't so tech savvy and want to send you cards or gifts? So is there a way to okay, there you go. So if you'll email this,
if you email him, he'll get that information. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect, Zach. Perfect. So it's uniqueprepping@gmail.com. And that way you guys can communicate and figure out what's the best way. And hopefully we can help. Oh yeah, don't forget, Unique Preppy's got some merch down there.
Yeah, nice.
Good way to earn a computer, right?
But you know, I think a lot of those things, Tag, are attitude, and it really comes down to how you see the world, and again, you can be the best carpenter, but you know, and this is what my dad used to tell me when he was working, because my dad does, you know, a lot of rehabs and in general construction work, and he said, you know, and we used to hire a lot of maintenance guys for properties, and he would say, like, you can teach a guy to hit a hammer, but you can't teach a guy to give a damn.
This is why I put attitude at the top of the list.
Yeah.
That's why it's more important to me than anything, because again, you don't want to be in a foxhole with a Debbie Downer, and you want, if someone's got a good attitude, I'm telling you, I can survive so much with a good head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know,
it's important.
It's just the way it is. That's why I put it so high on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Blue Rose just put Zach's email in the chat as well.
Thank you, Blue Rose.
Yeah. Super, super cool. I love when people are on it like that. Zach, what you think? What's your list? I'll be interested to hear this.
Yeah.
What I want in my community is morals, principles, values, knowledge, and want to achieve the ultimate goal of being actually free. We aren't all perfect, but the people who are capable of making decisions for us in the community is very important to make sure that we are safe, sustainable, and growth. For me, I want people around me who want to be in positivity and not be negative.
Yeah, which comes down to attitude, right, Zach? Being positive right? Is an attitude thing. And, you know, we, kind of relevant, but years ago we were digging a big old hole, and we just gotten dug, and it started raining, and it filled the whole hole with water. And we had to get down in that hole, and because there were some footings that we were dealing with, and you know, we could have gotten upset about it or whatever, but we decided instead to have a mud fight, and it was a great old time. You know, I want to be in people with a muddy hole that are ready to have a mud fight. You know,
Yeah.
or a food fight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
who I want to be around.
Well, and I think for me, Rebecca hit the nail on the head. That faith is an element of that. I was kind of just describing what those elements of faith are: being missional, being vocational, being humility. You know, having all those things. Because to me, we all get down. Okay, so you know, in that whole expression, you don't want an atheist in a foxhole. The whole point is, if someone loses belief, they lose the will to try to live and thrive. And to me, missional, it all comes to your worldview point. And if you acknowledge that, hey, I'm not at luxury because of the people that are in my life, or I'm not at luxury to just give up because of whatever reason, because really, to me, like, whatever happens in this world, I will always have hope because of my faith. So for me, that will, but how do you overcome those things? And I go, you know, attitude's a great word, a describer of that. And I can tell you put a lot of thought into that, Tag.
Oh, a lot.
But for me, I think I look at that as missional. What is your mission? And I like what, and there's some, I'm trying to remember who says it all the time, but it's like the kind of attitude of being like a happy warrior, right? Which is you're willing to do what needs to be done. That's the warrior. But you're also at peace with knowing that you are capable of doing it when the time comes.
Yeah.
Because of your missional view.
I purposely left faith out of my list.
Right. I understand that.
Yep. And I did it on purpose. And I'll tell you why I did, just so everybody knows. I know, because faith is often confused with a spirituality thing, when the fact is I can also just have faith and we're going to make it through this.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Okay. So because of that connotation in that, the fact of the matter, if I had people with a good attitude and a commitment to the process with good character, we could coexist with an atheist. We could coexist with a Muslim. We could coexist with a Buddhist. We could coexist with a Hindu. It doesn't matter, because we're all at a different part in our journey. And to me, it's important to understand that, hey, that atheist won't always be one.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And they're part of their journey too. And so it's our job to build up the bottom. I don't know if you guys ever heard that term. It's a business term.
Right.
And so I purposely left it out of my.
And I can respect that, and I understand that. You know, and I think what you're giving too is you're giving a more forensic view of that, of understanding that these are essential things to it. And let's be honest, like, just because people believe something doesn't mean that they're going to always follow through with that belief. Right. Yeah. So and I think that's what makes it hard sometimes to talk about this kind of question, is because how do you say that? How do you express that? And you can view it as attitude. And I think that's a great lens to look at it. And it's especially good from a pragmatic aspect, which is an essential tool to have in survival and building communities.
Yeah, good point.
But I also believe there is a spiritual aspect to that comes from a worldview of, and I don't mean spiritual like I'm spiritual like that. I mean this understanding of how you see the world, and that feeds into that. Hey, I'm going to love everyone that's in my path, right? So,
I'd have said that better.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Yep.
Yep, your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude.
Yeah,
100%. You know, 100%. Man, that's good.
No, Mayhem, and that's what he was just saying too.
Yeah, Mayhem, I agree. I didn't want it to be confused with that.
Yeah, no, and I understand why you did that. Yeah.
Yeah. One attitude that has become a motto in my life is never volunteer for execution. I found over the years that it can apply to literally millions of things.
Yep.
Quote. That's a good quote.
Well, and this right here, I think, is a good example, Tag, as well, of why there's a seat for everybody, right?
Yep.
Because we would say that when it comes to getting things done, you need that attitude, right? And that's an important thing to that. But I also think when it comes to fostering attitude, being able to have conversations about where that attitude comes from can also be a benefit. Now, when it requires boots on the ground, getting stuff done, you can't like philosophize till the cows come home. You still have to get things done. And that has to come from a mindset. But how you teach that to the next generation, or how you, those are where these kinds of more maybe opaque values can kind of come in and give a lens, you know, and do it all with the understanding of sharing something that maybe will give someone that a tool to better understand how they can adapt that attitude that gets stuff done.
Yeah, I would have never thought we'd end up on an attitude conversation tonight, but it's so wonderful. But I'll tell you, you give me 5 people with a great attitude, we will out hustle 25 without.
Yep, absolutely. I would agree with that.
You, 100% of the time.
Yep.
You know, if Zach can trip me as I walk by, we're going to get along fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
we're going to get along. It's going to be good.
And I like what American Roots says. He says, an attitude of gratitude. I call it an attitude of gratitude too, because that's a great thing, because that's where that humility comes in. And if you, and I always say this, like, you know what BDE is, right? I think everybody here knows what BDE means. That to me is what too many alpha male type of attitudes will kill the community. Just like too many followers. It's a right blend. It's a right blend. And you need to be able to be a follower and a leader in yourself.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you know, but again, you get, you know, 5 people or whatever number, and they've all got good attitudes, your need for leadership dramatically falls.
Right.
You know, you can, yeah, I'm as you can tell, I'm pretty committed to the attitude thing.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And that's okay. But we need that. We need that perspective, right, Zach?
Yeah,
I think it's refreshing to hear it from that perspective. And
I read a book that one of the reasons why Taylor Swift was so successful was over attitude. Saying.
Yeah, I also think the other aspect is how much money your dad had to bankroll that too. Capital does make something. Money does talk sometimes.
I was just picking on Ghetto.
Yeah,
which is a good hobby of mine.
Well, if you gotta have fun sometimes.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. This is the attitude thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
and people who can't have fun, they're when it gets to intense times, they're going to have a hard time coping with it.
Well, and we live in a world where everyone's offended by everything.
Exactly.
Everything. You know, for the record, so everybody knows I'm a German, and that's my nationality is German. And you can call me a kraut anytime you want. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think Zach's got something.
I think he does as well. Mayhem. By the way, Tag, if you don't know Mayhem was also.
I'm a German too.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's probably why you guys get along, Tag, is that Mayhem was also in the middle. So he has a shared.
Yeah, Mayhem says, Tag, I don't know you. Oh, Ghetto says, I'm very offended, Tag. You know what the good news is, Ghetto? I don't give a shit if you're offended. Tag, I don't know you, but from what I hear from you, I'd share a foxhole with you as long as you don't mind me being pantless. Well, here's the good news. I have to wear glasses, so I don't see that great, and I'm not a sharpshooter, so it doesn't matter. Life's good. You guys rock, man. The audience, you guys rock. Zach, you rock. John, you rock. This is fun. Yeah, being offended is a choice. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
And it's a choice of attitude.
Right. It comes all back to that. Yeah, Mayhem says, so we're good then. That's awesome.
So I guess that's the answer, Zach. What is community prepping? Attitude.
Huge thing.
There you go. We can just clip that video right there and then just share it in your shorts, and then people will get that answer.
I would take somebody with a good attitude over a skilled permaculturist, a skilled doctor, any of those skill sets you'd want. I would take the good attitude first. because embracing the suck is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's a huge survival tool to have.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Zach's got a question for us, I think.
Yep, he's getting to it. Me, yeah.
You know, for those of you guys who watch my channel, you know I pick on my wife constantly, and I'm always accusing her of being on vacation and lollygagging and all that. It's really important that people understand I'm really not being mean to her. What I'm doing is I'm saying, babe, this is the life you wanted to lead. You are on a permanent vacation. And I do those things because it breaks up our day and it helps us get through when it's heavy and it hurts. And, you know, but I do it all the time. I pick on everybody in my videos because it's fun. Okay.
And usually if guys pick on someone, it means something, they like them too anyway. So
yeah.
By the way, I just want to thank everyone who has donated so far for helping me upgrade my technology. I freaking love you guys.
We need to have an applause sound here for you, Zach.
Yeah, Zach, you got to give us an update. God, I wish I knew how to do stuff like that.
Well, you know, Zach is good at not just at prepping but also coding. So I mean that helps.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do it, but that's super, super cool. Yeah, so Zach, how far are we away from your goal? Because I'll bring it up on my live on Friday.
Yeah, I was giving Zach some crap right there.
Oh. Zach always, there must be an inside joke there.
Hey, Andy, welcome to the stream.
How cool. I think it's neat how he manages to do that. The questions, and he's smarter guy than I am. No, there we go. Operation 32. You're turning into an old guy there, Zach. How much gray hair you got? in 4 years, you're going to look like me. Oh. Yeah, Zach's got a great brain. Linda, I agree 100%.
Well, if Zach's old, I'm really old then.
We are 28% from the goal.
Nice.
Yeah, how amazing that. Mario says he's not ever going to look that ugly, Tag. Yeah, I think what they're saying, Zach, is you're a better looking guy than I am. Nope.
He's better looking than all of us.
I know, right? I just quit trying. I mean, I got to spend time with Taylor Swift, and it was just, I can't compete.
Yep.
How cool is that? How cool is that? Next, we need donations to build Zach an exoskeleton Gundam
Gundam suit. You don't know what, I don't know if you know what Gundam is or not. That's like an animated robot show type of thing. It's like they're like flying robot kind of. Think of like Transformers. It's like Transformers type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, super cool.
But yeah, you wouldn't think it, but I'm like I'm much older than Zach, aren't I, Zach?
I'm gonna see if I can real quick here while you're getting ready here. I'm going to pull up his, I'm going to pull up his link tree real quick on my other computer, on my other screen here. See what we're going to get there.
And then he's got that question tag whenever you're ready for it.
Okay, got it. Any suggestions you have for people who want to but are nervous about forming their own community? Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I would tell you is quit taking yourself so seriously. I mean, you know, seriously, you know, people are not as mean as they're made out to be. Guys, I walk up to people every single day, total strangers, and, you know, start a conversation with them. So, but here's the thing is that if you want community, you have to be more committed to doing that than you are to, you know, your self-consciousness of getting up and talking to people. You just got to be, you know, committed, and you've got to be intentional to go building it. But you can absolutely do it. I'll tell you guys, I have probably approached, I don't even know, thousands of people over the course of my life. I've never really had anybody be a total jerk. And I've never really had someone say, leave me alone. I mean, so quit being afraid of it. Quit taking yourself seriously.
Yeah, for me, you know, obviously, I think this question is a question that you could probably apply to a lot of different topics, Zach, about being nervous about something. Sometimes that nervousness is our self-consciousness trying to wonder if what we can do to have it. And I think, like we were saying earlier, you know, you got to be yourself. And don't be afraid that if you cast your rod out there, you're not going to get every fish, right? You're not going to attract everyone with the same bait, but the right one will come along, and you'll add that to your community. And whether it's your community in your own family, right, or a community with a friendship, or local friendship, or YouTube friendship, or whatever that is, you know, as Mayhem said it, you know, don't be afraid. And I think that's an important thing. You know, fear is a disabler. That's the true disabler right there. And that right there is always going to be a huge thing. So to me, I think you just got to be willing to talk about it and put you out. And again, it's interesting because that's how you build communities, talking to people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, if you're nervous about talking, and I get it, we're all nervous. Like, you know, I'm self-conscious about the way my voice sounds and how I look. Everyone has their issues.
Yeah.
But you just got to be bold to your mission. You got to be bold to what you believe in, and say, hey, can I find other people who want to build this with me? And a lot of times you're going to say, yeah, I do. And you know why? Especially in the case of you, Zach, they're going to see it because of your heart. Right? They're going to see that someone like Tag, I don't know you really well, but like I just mentioned tonight, but it seems like you're the kind of person that says, hey, I'm going to give it to you straight. I'll tell you how it is. I'll treat you with respect. I'll, you know, and as long as you can pull up your sleeves and you're not afraid to get into it, then we're on the same page. You know, so those things will be found. So. Okay, Blue Rose. Thank you for coming in. Blue Rose says she has to go. Everyone, have a good night.
Thanks for being here. Try this. No. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to donate to Zach, but it is just not letting me. Nope. I want to see Zach get there tonight. I can't get in. You would think that there would be an easy way to do that. I don't have a Cash app. I don't have Venmo. I do have PayPal, but it won't let me. I'm trying to figure out something else. Anyway. Zach, what are your suggestions you have for people who want to? Oh, there you go. Sorry. I'm not trained yet. Oh, Ghetto's got a beautiful comment up there. Yeah, Ghetto, that was super well said right there. That is super, super, super well said. I didn't know Taylor Swift was that smart. I think prepping community, like most communities, are very tribal, and when we tend to only invite people who look like ourselves, once that type of division is stopped, we the people will succeed. And you know what the one trait that everybody who's capable, right, of stopping that division would have? And that would be a good attitude. Full circle.
We need to come up with a song that will be like every time you have tag on, it's like attitude, attitude. You won't get far with that attitude, attitude.
Okay. Zach, we're ready for you.
For me, don't be nervous about taking the next step in your freedom. I actually was afraid of being on YouTube because I was put down so many times, but having you guys around me has brought me into a whole new beginning of something beautiful.
Yeah, you know, one of the lessons, and I hope if I could give anybody a piece of life lesson, you know, there was a day that came that I finally realized I was flawed. You know, that moment where you finally realize you're not all that and you're not that cool and, you know, all of those things. And so I think what really helps is once you figure out that we're all flawed, we're all humans, now none of us have any room to judge. Right? I'm just as screwed up as everybody else. So I have no place to judge. I ain't judging nobody.
Yeah, and Mayhem's got good advice there too, Zach. Start small, first get family and friends involved, and they'll get their family and friends. Yeah, and you build from the ground up, right? And that's what the whole idea of sincerity is you start with the closest people to you, and then you start with people who are in other communities that you are in. And then once you go from that, then the important thing is to do the stuff like when you're out and about, that's just where vocation comes in. So like, for example, if you're doing something like you're out to dinner and you know, you someone sees how you treat someone in the relationship, right? Because being vocational is how you treat people more than it is also just having a job or an occupation. So, and then you can graft people in that are not necessarily people who are your close community, and they become a new family. They can become a new friend. So,
yeah. Yeah, I like, by the way, Ghetto, you got to highlight Ghetto's statement, Zach. He's talking about my orange flannel shirt. Yeah. So Ghetto says wearing that orange flannel shirt definitely killed your cool point to me tag. Not all of us can be Taylor Swift, Ghetto. Some of us are just poor, dumb country folk. But here's the good news. When the shit hits the fan, we'll be the ones you'll be looking for. With your pink dress, your high heels, and all your glitz and glamour. I promise you.
I just want to ask Ghetto what it's like to date an NFL superstar.
Oh, right. Right. Poor Ghetto. Ghetto says candy corn looking MF. Not all of us can be Taylor Swift, Ghetto. Any suggestions you have for people who want to but are nervous about? Oh, we already did that.
You just did that one. Yeah, you just took it out. Yep.
Sorry, bud.
Was that 4, Zach? And we got 5th? Or is that the 5th one? That was the 5th one? We got the questions.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the color of the paint in your. It looks like your kitchen or your office there, Tag. But
yeah. So this is the 3rd story of my house. It's the only room on the 3rd story. It's a small room. We call it the crow's nest because it's completely surrounded in windows, and I can look over my entire property while I work up here.
Gotcha. That's cool. Nice. I like it.
Yeah, this is just my office. Hey, we'll be cool's in the house. How you doing, bud?
Hi to Vast Matrix that just came in.
Mm-hmm.
Connie Carlo. The irony, Ghetto says, I don't even know what Taylor Swift looks like.
Yeah, that's said like Taylor Swift. You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you, don't you?
By the way, that's great. Carly Simon.
Yeah. Yeah, Mayhem says Ghetto's just jealous because he doesn't look good in a flannel like the rest of us.
Candy color. So what's wrong with orange? Orange is a great color.
I like it. It was just the first shirt I picked out.
Yeah. Not all of us can be prima donnas when it comes to our fashion design, right?
That's right. Hey, Red Dawn Readiness is in the house. Working on a plate carrier. Pretty cool. Yeah. Mayhem Zach says that the next show you do like this, you should require that everybody wears a flannel. We'll show Ghetto. We'll show him. Oh, how cool.
For the chat, do you have any questions for us?
That's a good question. You should work on an outro with Taylor Swift music, Zach. Because that'd be a way to stick it to Ghetto every single show. I love Candy Corn tune, Connie. Candy corn rocks.
I love candy corn. People think that but I could eat that stuff like it's crack. I mean, that's just I love candy corn.
Okay, who is this fast? Taylor, everyone talks about it anyway.
That's funny, Carl. That's funny, Carl.
Yeah, good evening to you. Yeah, good stuff.
Hello to Lady Smith in the chat.
Linda's got a question for you, Zach. So does Rebecca. Life with Mike and Jen said MC Sausage and McFlute, the Flute Man, are working on a song. There's an inside joke there. How is your kitty cat? I forgot her name. It's Massey. Something wrong with your cat? Yeah, Mayhem had a good question too, Zach, just so you know. Oh, I might have found a way to do this. He's doing something funny. I don't know what, but something.
I guess from my perspective, for Rebecca's question, I'll say that to me, preparedness versus homesteaders. Homesteaders is people who share. They have it's a cooperative, more of a cooperative aspect versus people who come together in a community. And you can have an online prepared community, right? This is an online prepared community, right? But in the case of Tag, it sounds like he's on an actual homestead.
What was the question? Was the difference between homesteading and prepping?
Yeah, that was Rebecca's question. In what way does preparedness community differ from homesteaders, in your opinion?
Oh yeah. As soon as you're done, let me know, and I'll tackle this one easy. You done, John?
What's that? Say that again.
I said, are you
She
done?
is having cabin fever really bad and her name is Maisie.
Oh.
Yeah, Rebecca, to answer your question, so I think the difference between prepping and homesteading is all just part of the journey. You know, in the early days, I used to prep and store food and, you know, all those things on a shelf in a room somewhere. When today I store my energy in a tree and I store my food on a hoof and in a seed. And so it's that next evolution of prepping, in my opinion. But I really don't think it's that much difference. It's just how
Right.
you're accomplishing the goal.
And to me, like prepare, like it's one thing to like have like your canned foods or like your emergency food stuff. With homesteading, you're creating from the ground up those resources. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and I just what I would take from that.
Yeah. Mayhem asks, did you ask what everyone's definition of community? Yeah, that's a very, very interesting thing. But again, Mayhem, you got to understand that I view community as a spectrum. It's not a single thing. But I think if you're talking about just kind of the inner circle of a community or whatever, it's that collective effort towards a specific goal, right? Defines community to me. If all we're talking about again is that one thing, but again, community to me is a spectrum. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of different interlocking circles. You know, we call them the crew, the mag, the mind, right? Those kinds of things. But again, it's a spectrum. So it's not one single thing. Evolution, what kind of gardening and vegetables are you going to grow this season, Zach? Good question. I wonder if I could click on some of these. I'd like to subscribe to all these channels that were posted, but I don't know if I can do it from StreamYard, which is where we're at. Maybe. Let's see here. Okay. Independent, many united. I got that one subscribed to. So
Yeah, Indy's great. Indy's great.
Yeah, I'll work through these and try to get as many of them as I can.
Yeah, Indy's a great gal.
Okay, go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
I'm actually going to try raised beds this year with potatoes, lettuce, tomatoes, and carrots. Then I'm going to grow radishes in 5-gallon bags.
Yeah, super cool. And I'm assuming you're going to film all of it. Right? You're going to share with all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Zach, or even in where you're at there, Dag, but where I live at, there's so much, what is it, alkali in the ground. So I find that you can't, except for tomatoes. Tomatoes really good to do well with that. But like a lot of stuff it would not be unless you do a lot of composting. But the other problem I have is squirrels and rabbits, and so with the raised beds. Zach, do you have I don't know if you have any animal problems you have, but I sometimes have to have like a netting or something over that so that because there's like owls and birds and all kinds of things.
Yeah, all soils are different, bud, but all of that stuff can be rectified. That's all about input and output, right? And you can build soil pretty much to whatever you want it to be. You know, I grew up in Colorado, so Colorado is not the best place in the world to grow. We live in Kansas, in Kansas and Iowa and Missouri, and there's a reason they call us the wheat state.
Yeah, because you guys feed the nation.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lady Smith said blueberries love acidic soil. Yeah, that's a great one. Trying to Mayhem Studios had another really good question too, Zach, when you're done with that one. Actually, while he's typing it in, we'll just talk about it. Mayhem Studios says, how do you introduce someone who's never thought about prepping into thinking about becoming a prepper? And what do you suggest to them as items they should start prepping?
That's a great question. Great question.
So the first thing is I would never use the word prepper or prepping. I would exclude that from your vocabulary. What I always like to do is do the leading question. You know, one of my favorites, we were talking about this earlier in the live, but one of my absolute favorites is just as you start a conversation, just go, hey, world's kind of crazy, huh? And shut up. That's all you got to do, because they will kind of take over. And then as you're talking, it's very easy to say, well, those are such good points. Some of them I hadn't thought of. What are you doing about it?
Right. Because there is that label associated with prepping, right. And it already gets people to think, you know, and that's the problem we have now is you'll say a label to something and it makes someone think something that it's not there. And really everyone, I think, now is worried about how to put food on the table. Mm-hmm. That's just the way the world is right now. It's the way the United States is right now. So So and the question is, that is the question, right? Do you see there's a problem? And if there's a problem, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah, because typically you'll get one of, you know, a couple answers. You know, it'll be, oh, yeah, it's a mess. I can't believe this is going on. Trump, the election got stolen. And I mean, they're going to go on that rant. The other one is, I don't care. I don't pay any attention to it.
Right.
Here's the good news. Or even the other one, well, it's not so bad. The good news is you get to manage your energy capital right here. It will tell you whether to pursue it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
The will tell you whether you want to do the follow-up question.
Or you get the fourth person, like the lady that I used to work with, that said, well, I guess I'll just die. And like, yeah, you're not going to probably be part of the community.
Yeah, but John, that answer is so excellent, because if someone said that to me, I would know right then, stop investing.
Yeah.
Move on. I don't want to defeat us, right? Attitude. Yeah. It's at the top of my list.
Yeah. Well, and it's like if I can't get food from an app or from a fast food joint or from the grocery store, you know, it's like, yeah. Zach's got something. Right.
Yep.
I have a 2.5-foot fence, so that helps. And I don't have a community locally, but I have you guys. Ghetto, SU, I got 2.1 pounds last year.
So Zach, what's the goal for how many pounds of potatoes this year? What's the goal? 4? Hey, Zeg's in the house. William Zegley, how are you, bud? Yeah, super good to see you. By the way, Zach, I don't know if you know this or not, but American Roots Farm is in the house. They're celebrities too. They might not be Taylor Swift level celebrities, but they're going to be Justin Timberlake level celebrities. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
FYI.
I absolutely love that last comment from Mayhem. That's a great comment.
What do you say? Okay.
He says, I usually use the word prepper if there's something negative about preppers. I point out that if they have a spare tire, jumper cables, and a glass breaker in their car, they probably are prepper.
Yeah, Mayhem, and I would add if they have a 401k plan, life insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, or medical insurance, they're a prepper as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Connie says, love me some radishes. Use the root part in water to make a start to plant in dirt. Do a few veggies. That way, cut off the bottom root part and begin that start. Yeah, we live in Kansas where it gets very, very cold. My wife grows pineapples that way.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you guys can start growing something right now. There's a lot of things you can do in colder temperatures.
Oh, I have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people start their season like in April and I'm like, well, the certain things are going to be certain seasons, but
yeah, we got potatoes in the ground, onions in the ground, carrots in the ground.
It's a good time to start lettuce and
lettuces. She's got some of that going in the greenhouse, I think. But if you buy toilet paper because you plan to boo-boo tomorrow, then you're a prepper.
Ghetto. If you get your hotel and your concert tickets 6 months in advance for Taylor Swift, you're a prepper.
I can't believe I'm going to lay in bed tonight and think about Taylor Swift and Boo Boo. Oh my goodness, I'm scarred for life. Yeah, Connie, pineapples do have great medicinal properties. My wife's growing avocados, pineapples. I think she has lemons, moringa trees, all here in Kansas. Now they can't go outside in the winter, but she grows them right here. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons that it's good to grow stuff is, whenever I go to Sam's Club and it says, and you see the giant oranges and it says seedless, B going to smack you if you think of Taylor Swift in the bed.
Yeah, B's my bride.
Yeah. Mario.
Remember that. I was going to give someone was talking about potatoes and they just came out small. And usually that's because the ground's too compacted or the things are planted too close together.
Yeah.
And so if you
but I go by the big oranges and I go, oh, it's seedless. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Jade, put some peat moss or put something in there to kind of, or some leaves or something, and just kind of break that ground up a little bit. It'll make sand would work too. And you'd probably get bigger potatoes. Taylor's a boo-boo. Oh my goodness. I would expect no less from Mario. No less.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else you got, Zach? You got something.
He's always got something. When he's got really something is when he's writing and he smiles. That's when he's really got something.
I like when he's writing and he starts laughing.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
William said, tag, that was just after Noah came off the ark. Oh my goodness.
You never know where these streams go.
No, it's good though,
What is community prepping? It's attitude, and Taylor Swift is a boo-boo.
That's right. Attitude and 4 pounds of potatoes, baby. Right.
Any last words, fellas?
Yeah, I'll start because I've started all of the each question so far tonight, and then John will finish, and Zach can close. I think, and I preach this a lot out there, but you guys, if you want to have more, you got to be willing to do more. And if you want something that no one else has, you have to be willing to do things that no one else is willing to do, right? And at the end of the day, the art to building community, and I've been at this for many, many years, I promise you, is something so simple, and that is just go be intentional. That's all you got to do. Just be intentional. Make building community part of your daily chores. Every single day, I'm going to do something today that helps further community. And if you do that, you'll come out just fine. And again, anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you. Tag and be at lifedonefree.com. You can also find me at Life Done Free on YouTube and Facebook. That's all I got. You're up, John.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to remind everyone, Operation 32 will be in 383 days. And if people want to help us with that, because we're going to, me and Mayhem, we're just talking about a nice little surprise we want to give for Zach. And so, we want to go take him out camping and go out, and he can make some content videos out of that, and he can show how to set up a tent and do all that. So if you'd like to get to more information about that, or if you're going to be in Colorado or close to Colorado, April next year, let us know. And you can email me at johnmosmanproductions@gmail.com. And we'll get that. And then my other thing I was going to say was, as well, is, of course, thank you to everybody who came into the chat. Thank you for your comments. Great chat. Great community here that Zach has. And I think that says volumes about you, Zach. Right? So you're doing something right, buddy. And then I just want to say that too as well. A big part of doing anything worthwhile is to have a purpose. And I think as long as you have this desire to learn more, and you realize that you can do a whole lot more, even if it's not like have a bunker with a bunch of food, like just being aware of how much food you waste, or being aware of how much you could save on things, or going to the thrift store and buying something, because a lot of stuff, if you go to Walmart, everything is cheap China made, and I don't want to support that. I want, so those kinds of things are stepwise. So you could always do something today to help yourself tomorrow. That's all I got.
John, I'm your newest subscriber.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hit the 1,000 mark, so I'm excited.
Camel Carl has the comment of the evening.
Exactly.
Zach will rule as a warlord in a post-apocalyptic wasteland surrounded by babes. Oh, wonderful. It's just awesome.
Especially if he flashes that smile.
Right.
He's got $1 million smile. And during Operation 32, we're going to make Mayhem lose his potatoes on the $1 million highway. Isn't that right, Zach? Thank you, Jane, for coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a little a PG-13 in the comments here, Zach.
Hey, Jen, Zach is in Colorado.
Yeah, he's in Colorado, and I am as well. So, and Tag has been to Colorado, so we've. But I have to go over a couple of mountains or drive halfway through Utah to get to him if I want to not avoid the snow. Oh, thanks, Ghetto.
I don't remember what's the biggest town close to Zach. The Pueblo?
No, it's Durango. That's our inside joke. We call it Durango, but I would say Durango. Wouldn't you agree? Zach? Yeah.
Durango. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Mario's got it down.
There you go, Zach. Mario says maybe we can plan a work weekend in Colorado if Zach needs help getting the garden set up. And that you could do that as part of Operation 32, or do it sometime this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You hear that, Zach? Mike, they have people in that area.
Yep.
And I'm going to drive down for his birthday this year and go take him out to eat and do all that. That's perfect for you. That's a Durango. Cool.
Yeah, Mario and Jen, just so you guys know, I have Zach's contact if you guys need it.
Yeah, I'm near Grand Junction, Colorado. So I'm about 3 hours, depending on which way you go and whether you want to play with the snow.
Yeah. Yeah, I learned how to ski at Summit Ski Resort out of Glenwood Springs.
That's right, Mayhem. He shares his birthday with Hugh Hefner.
My last words are thank you Tag and John for having this beautiful conversation with me and for the community for joining us tonight. We all have a purpose in this life, and if we form together and help build the future, we all win. With that said, I love you all so much. I'll see you next week. For the Mighty One has done great things for me, holy is his name. Luke 1:49 NIV.